Hi, I'm Alexandra and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to review an Archer and Olive notebook that I ordered. It is in the Verdant Ventures print, which is a beautiful green notebook with floral designs. When I saw this notebook online, I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and I had already been eyeing Archer and Olive notebook. I definitely want one for my 2020 bullet journal, and so I went with this print. When I received it, it came, of course, in that beautiful Archer and Olive box. The gold embossing makes it look extra special. And upon opening it, I was just taken aback by the beautiful print on it. It looks even better in person. The cover is nice and soft and smooth. It's not fabric like some of the other Archer and Olive notebooks, which I actually liked because I feel like maybe the fabric might get damaged in my backpack or my purse, wherever it is that I'm carrying it. And of course, I'm one of those moms that puts everything at the bottom of the purse, so I was afraid of crumbs and whatnot getting on my notebook. So it was nice to have this soft cover that I could easily wipe clean. Now, when I saw the Verdant Ventures cover online, I saw the box that was on top of the cover, and I wasn't sure if that was part of the design or if it was a sticker, but I did write to the people at Archer and Olive, and they responded within an hour, and they explained to me that it is part of the design. I wasn't too happy about that. I kind of went back and forth for a little bit trying to decide if I was going to order it or not. I would have preferred if it just said notebook like some of the other floral prints on the Archer and Olive website, but I decided that I loved the green so much that I was going to look past this box, and I'm okay with it. I do like that it says notebook in that beautiful gold print, and it's so shiny and cute. But if Archer and Olive is watching this, I suggest that you not have that box on any future notebooks, because it just kind of take away from the art of the cover. So after pulling the notebook out, I did notice that it is thicker than the Leuchtturm. Even though it has a lot less pages, it is 160 GSM, which the Leuchtturm I believe is about 80 or less. So of course that's going to affect the thickness of the notebook, but it's nothing too big, nothing that doesn't feel good in your hands. And when you open it up, the paper is definitely thick, nice and smooth. I can tell that I'm going to be able to do a lot of art in this notebook, which makes me really happy, because one of the things that I love about bullet journaling, apart from it being a system that makes it really easy to keep track of your tasks and things that you need to get done, also organize all of your thoughts and notes that you have into one book. I do also like how people have taken the artistic approach to note keeping, and it has really helped me unleash that creativity and also use it as a form of self-care to kind of just express myself in that artistic way. So the pocket in the back of the notebook is very sturdy. Some others have been quite flimsy and have torn halfway through their use, but this one seems like it will definitely hold up. And of course, like is expected for most dot grid notebooks that are hardcover, it does lay completely flat. One of the things that I really love about this notebook is the 2 ribbon bookmarks. Now the 2 bookmarks, that's pretty standard for most dot grid notebook, but this one has the ampersand from the Archer and Olive notebook at the end in gold. It is so cute, and I feel like it just gives the notebook a little something extra. I do not believe that all Archer and Olive notebooks have them. And actually, when you look at the listing for the Verdant Ventures notebook, it says that it doesn't come with the ampersand, but mine did. So I'm not sure if it's just something that they're changing for the new print of the Verdant Ventures, or if it's just a mistake on their website. The elastic band, this one is nice and taut. It will keep your notebook closed, everything together in one place. The pen loop is also very good quality. It did fit my favorite pen, which is the Sharpie pen. I wish I would have tested it with something thicker, with a thicker pen, but just judging from other notebooks I've had in the past, I've used the pen loop, that Leuchtturm produces that you add onto your notebook. And I've also used the pen loop from the Dingback's notebook that comes with it, and it seems to be similar quality to those. So now let's start with the Archer and Olive pen test. Now you can go on YouTube and find dozens of reviews on Archer and Olive notebooks, so I'm not going to go too far into detail with the usual suspects, which are pens and markers that most people in the bullet journal community like to use. So I haven't seen a lot of people use this in their bullet journals. I really love Jane Davenport. Jane Davenport is a mixed media artist from Australia, and she sells her art products at Michael's stores in the US. And I absolutely love her product line. And one of my favorite products that she has created are the palette pastels. They come in all sorts of different shades, and I like to use them in my bullet journal to kind of create a little, to kind of fill in backgrounds of the things that I draw. But what I really want to know is if this notebook is going to be able to handle some of my more heavy duty art products. So I do have a few paint markers that I'm going to be testing, as well as some alcohol markers by Jane Davenport, similar to the Copics. She also has these ink markers I'm going to test out, as well as shimmery ink. I also want to test out acrylic paint and watercolor paint. So let's get started with our test. First, we're doing the Sharpie pen. It's what I use most often, and of course it looks absolutely great, writes smoothly, and it's perfect. Next, we're going to do the Jelly Roll pens, and I spelled jelly wrong, but we're just going to go with it. I didn't want to do the entire metallic line, but I chose a color that is dark, a color that is light, and a color that's kind of in between, and all three of them look absolutely great, so I have full confidence that the entire line is going to look good in this notebook. Now I'm going to do the dark mild liner just because in the past with notebooks that have not had as high of GSM paper, I have experienced some ghosting and even some bleeding. So we're gonna test this out with a dark mild liner. This is the Tombow Mono pen, and this looks really good. And now the Tombow dual brush pen. Now we're going to do the brush tip. I didn't realize that this particular marker, I had mixed it with another marker, but that's actually a really great way to test it. I used to previously have a Piccadilly notebook, and that one is, I think the GSM is even less than a Leuchtturm. Whenever I would use a Tombow brush marker, it was fine. There was some ghosting, but no bleeding. But once I tried to do one of those mixes so that you can get the ombre look, suddenly there was a lot of bleeding. I think because you kind of have a lot of ink on the brush tip when you try to make those effects. So it's really great that even though this wasn't intentional, I had a mixed marker just to kind of see if it would be able to handle that kind of effect. And now we're going to flip the page, and as expected, there was no ghosting, no bleed through. This really is great paper. It can withstand a lot of products. So next, let's go into the more heavy duty stuff. I have this Craftsmart paintbrush. It's supposed to be a metallic teal color, and it looks a little bit dull, but that's not the paper's fault. It's definitely because the marker is not very high quality. I definitely wanted to use Posca markers, but I had to order them online and they haven't arrived yet, so we're gonna make do with these Craftsmart markers. Now these are labeled paint markers. I got them from Hobby Lobby, and they don't seem to have a brand name on them, but upon using them I can see that it's slightly better quality than the Craftsmart ones. So now I'm going to use the Jane Davenport smooth markers. These are similar to Copics, and I don't really use these in my art, but I would like to, and I have yet to find a paper in which these markers do not bleed through. The Jane Davenport Squid Ink is one of my favorite products. It has a beautiful gold shimmer to it, and I'm so excited to be able to use this in my notebook. I'm also doing a Craftsmart black acrylic. I just wanted to go ahead and go with the really dark color. If it can handle a dark color, it could probably handle a really light color. This is the Jane Davenport Mermaid markers. I believe they're filled with ink, so it's not filled with liquid watercolors. And I have had a hard time finding use for these markers because they do seem to bleed through a lot, and I'm really hoping that the Archer and Olive paper will be able to handle this medium. Now I'm going to try my watercolor. I'm going to start off with a wet on dry, which basically means that you're taking a wet brush and paint and applying it to a dry medium, in this case the Archer and Olive paper. And now I'm going to do the wet on wet method. So I'm going to paint a circle with just plain water onto the notebook, and then I'm going to add some paint to this. I'm being awfully generous with the amount of water I'm using here. You typically wouldn't use this much water when you're doing the wet on wet method. While we're letting the watercolor dry, I'm going to go ahead and try the palette pastels. I'm doing a sort of medium color and a dark color, also a light color, just so we can kind of see the difference between the three. As I'm applying this, it does look a little bit grainy, but I think it will be okay for just kind of background color that I add to my art. After waiting not so patiently for the paints to dry, we are now ready to see how the Archer and Olive paper holds up to these very heavy duty mediums. And wow, I'm actually really surprised by the Jane Davenport smooth markers bleeding through. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised because most people don't use Copics in their bullet journals. It bleeds through everything. And I'm actually really disappointed that the mermaid marker bled through a little bit. I really was hoping that this would be it. It's not watercolor inside of this marker, so I really don't use it with my watercoloring. So I was hoping to be able to use it in a notebook, and so far I haven't been able to find a notebook with paper thick enough to handle this marker. So maybe I'll just go ahead and give them away because I've had them for over a year and I don't really use them. There's a lot of warping with the watercolor, but to be fair, I used way too much water. With the wet on dry method, it looks really great. So I definitely feel comfortable using watercolors in this notebook. I've seen other people do it and I think it will be fine. Of course, the Archer and Olive notebook definitely lives up to its reputation. This is the best notebook I personally have owned, and I'm really excited to have it for this upcoming year. If you're interested in more bullet journal reviews and tutorials, please subscribe to my channel and be sure to press that notification bell.